Hey guys, Dylan from Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Marvel Zombies Episode 2. On the open road, the hunger for flesh rules all. Okay, so it's been a little bit of time since I finished my recording for Episode 1 because I combed through this entire comic. It's not a big one, so it didn't take too long, and I was looking for any Miss Marvel because I'm pretty sure Carol was Ms. Marvel at this time, not Captain Marvel. I couldn't find her. However, I did find a couple things that I note, which is why I've got two little bookmarks here. The first being that in the comics, they are a lot sturdier than um they are in the show because you had these ones being taken out by single shots, and as I just showed, Captain America lost half his head. Now, yes, later on in the book, when the rest of his brain was removed, he died. But to have half his head and still be completely talking, completely fighting, really shows just what the difference between these zombies viruses are. Go jump it forward a little bit. After this, when they get back to the group, yes, right there. That one, Captain Marvel, Kree Soldier, the one who gave the. Did he give his powers to. No, wait, that's Captain Marvel. Marvel was the. Kree Soldier. Captain Marvel is the one with the Negabands. Whatever. But he's basically the same power tier as Carol. So, if he's zombified, then it's reason to believe that she would also be. And finally, I want to pull up this. Never mind the fact that T'Challa is carrying Wasp's zombified head, which sort of disproves the fact that you need a full brain to work, which means that at some point Hawkeye's head is just out there alive. Um, the fact that he was missing an arm and a leg, that is exactly how he was left in the Marvel Zombies What If episode. And whereas in this, it was to satiate Wanda, in the comics, it was Hank Pym. He was doing it himself to keep his brain, so that he'd be able to try and come up with a cure while being a zombie himself. Because once the hunger settles in the comics, they more or less just return back to who they were. So the main way they thought that happened was by eating. Like you see at the start of that book, they take out Magneto, the last surviving human on the planet, and the people who eat him are basically their old selves. They're remorseful for the things they've done. Um, Hulk turns back into Banner, stuff like that. However, when they've been without food for a suitable amount of time, um, the hunger actually dissipates, and they're just zombies, but themselves. We see that at the end of the book when Wasp, her head's still a zombie, they take her and T'Challa up to Asteroid M and come back to Earth 5 years later. All of it's overgrown by vegetation, which again feeds into my thinking of this is about where the the snap back would happen, and Janet's back to being Janet. So, yeah, it is interesting if we find a part in this show where they've got a completely isolated area, say like an island nation, and they've not had food for since the start of the outbreak. Are they still just ravenous zombies, or are they more or less just humans who happen to be zombies? Anyway, let's get the actual episode started in 3, 2, 1, go. And I should actually have subtitles on this time. Oh, hey, this one actually has sound for the title, at least. One thing I'm hoping from this, more than anything, is A, give these characters more things to do, whether it be animation or live action, and B, people actually like this Blade enough for them to actually make the movie. This is where we're getting the San Francisco, that. The only name I had was Seattle. I'm like, that's definitely not correct. But here we have Katie and Shang-Chi. Oh, yes, cause fucking Ant-Man and that is in San Francisco. Specifically Hank. And I think that's where the battle where the Avengers got turned was. But yeah, another thing I was pointing out with that panel of Captain America and everything is the comics is actually more in line with the what if version of this, where it's just this greyish goop. Well, that one was just human on human. What is their goal there? That wasn't Clem, was it? Hey, it's Jimmy. So that's how these guys all meet up. Let me guess, the people that they were with are gone. Oh no, they're still there. Now's not really the time. Did Wenwu come in to save his son? And this is pre-redeemed Wenwu. He sacrificed himself for his son. Again! And I guess that's why we saw Death Dealer but not Wenwu. See, he has no problem saving the other people. Okay, so he's got a zombified arm. I'm guessing he can't take those rings off. Or at least he can't take this upper one off. Where's Xialing? I haven't seen anything about her in um the trailers. I didn't even think to ask how did. Okay, yes, it is 5 years. What was this? Yeah, I didn't think we'd see Wenwu, so I didn't even question how he got the rings. But what about the daughter? The fact that the entire band is. Where did you get a rocket launcher? His name is Death Dealer. Okay, so he can. It basically combined, they're the 9 rings. Because one of them can't be used. Why do I get the bad feeling that by the end of this, they're going to need that 10th ring, and so Shang-Chi's gonna have to sacrifice himself to complete the mission? Why do I get that feeling? Seeing that that one on his upper arm never actually moves. Ah, sitting on the sea, eh? This is how everyone gets together, okay. Really, Walker? Zemo is the leader? Walker, why are you working for Zemo? Hang on, can the raft move? Never once did I consider that that could move. Like, I knew it could rise and sink, but. Okay. And I love you, random citizen. So, I mean, having seen the trailer, I know the obvious issue with this. and also the thumbnail for this episode. Alexi. I mean, that would have been my. I really wish that Never mind. I was gonna say I really wish Kate had have survived to get more Kate and Yelena, but um this is a Kate and Yelena that never had the Hawkeye series, so they don't actually have a relationship in this. So you're heading all the way to Norway. I guess I never considered zombies eating animals. That was very clearly whales that they'd been eating. Hmm. New Orleans checkpoint. So they weren't far behind. And Red Eyes. Oh, great, she's got Namor as well. I'm going to treat him the same way that I treat Demeter in Hades, where I'm talking about that specific version, I will use the name that is used in that version. If I'm talking about the actual sources, I'm going to use the more commonly accepted name. What? What? Why is she getting visions? And two, that looked Hulk-like. We never actually did see Bruce's body. The fact that they're almost making it through. Nope. The King of Atlantis. Or Talakan. Hey, they said Namor. Was fully expecting him to speak. Well, Eric's going to be very vindicated, and yes, this scene is happening on the raft. Because people were questioning him about that. They're quite efficient. Gross. Who are we going to lose? This John doesn't have the super soldier serum. I was going to say, how did he get there so quickly? But then I remembered the winged feet. No, no, you won't. Well, there goes all the fodder. We're not losing Yelena, are we? Hey, he got the same fate as Captain America. Oh no, there's all the fodder. And pop goes his head. That was the only way they were getting out of that. Is hoping he wasn't as indestructible on the inside as he is on the outside. Did we really have to trade Yelena for Zemo? Damn, this episode's almost over. This has gone very quick. That's fair. Not gonna lie, 100%, if I was Yelena in that situation, just. I'm not getting taken out by zombies. I've had this thought every time I think of a zombie apocalypse. I will fight as much as I can to protect those around me, but if I'm in a compromised situation, I'm not going down to the zombies. Yeah, you sort of have to go along with what they want, Zemo. And I'm glad you recognize that. Am I going to sit here and watch all 4 episodes? I think I'm going to sit here and watch all 4 episodes. Okay. There wasn't as much to talk about with this um with this episode afterwards as it was with the first episode, because this was pretty much half action. Um Getting to see how all of them came together, the fact that when when was Shang-Chi set? Like, this was after the blip, yeah. Um, was it during the blip or? Because I know the post-credit scene had Hulk in the sling, which was from him snapping everyone back. But I can't remember the actual setting of the movie. Um, um, Apparently, there's background details in the film showing post blip information and services, so I guess this would be back when we was being influenced by the Dweller in Darkness. Because that would, or was that a more recent thing? trying to remember Shang-Chi. I've only seen it once. I really enjoyed the movie, but most of the post-Endgame ones I've only seen once. Um, After the blip, before the blip, Wenwu, head of the organization, met Shang-Chi's mother. They had the kids, was train his son, wouldn't train his daughter. The mother gets killed by a rival gang. Wenwu goes on a revenge mission, hardens him against everything, and then sends Shang-Chi away. Or maybe Shang-Chi left, I don't remember. Living in San Francisco. Met up with Katie when he had the name Sean. Gets attacked by a death dealer. Goes to Madripoor to meet up with his sister. They go back to the compound. They go through the maze to get to the city before Wenwu and his forces. Because Wenwu is being influenced by hearing Shang-Chi's dead mom. I don't know if he's being influenced by the Dweller in Darkness here. There's like plausible deniability that when the blip happened, there were people in the mystical city that were also gone, so they lost some of their defenses, and the Dweller was able to weasel its way into the main world. There is reason to think that. So maybe this is just Wenwu acting as Wenwu, showing that, yeah, even when he's at his most head of a gang, he still cares about his son. Because we've seen three versions of Wenwu. Two of them have a son. Two of them sacrifice themselves and give the rings to his son. I'm not saying that's a universal constant of if there's a Shang-Chi, Wenwu must sacrifice himself. But it's seemingly the case. I was not expecting him to get a zombie arm. It didn't surprise me that the rings were able to stop it. Probably would have surprised me more if I didn't know that he was at this raft battle. But yeah, it's not that surprising. Anything else to think of? The chaos from the Pym particles just leaking out, turning random things big, was funny. Death Dealer, honestly, thought he was gonna get taken out. I thought that my prediction about Shang-Chi using the one band that's keeping him alive to save everyone else was going to happen when he was reinforcing the Noor crystal and the door. I thought between him and Katie, they were just going to have a little bit too little power. And so he was going to take off the one band, get the force they needed for Alexei to open the door. That just leaves him on the side with everyone. They can easily, well, no, they probably wouldn't be able to easily take him out. As we've seen, the zombies keep their abilities and their skills, so I don't know. Death Dealer, maybe. Especially a zombie with the rings. That'd be terrifying. Um, but I suppose Katie would be able to call them to her. sort of like in that beam struggle between when we were in Shang-Chi in the actual movie, how they each had half the rings and were pulling. I guess that's the opposite of a beam struggle now that I think of it. Anyway, little surprised Namor was killed in this episode, but also there was no way they were getting out of that with him still alive, because he would have followed that pod. And with his winged feet, he would have caught up to them easily. He could have taken them out of the water, taken them straight to the witch. But yeah. Also, he called him Namor. They made a big point of in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie, saying he took the name Namor, meaning no more, no love. So he took that because that is what humanity showed him and his people. And so the fact they actually went back to Namor. Now that could have just been a Blade thing, and other people who actually dealt with him would have called him Namor. I don't know. We're not going to find out, but yeah. It's like how in Peacemaker, season 2, they've been saying Bloodhaven instead of Bloodhaven. When in Creature Commandos, they said Bloodhaven. It's just the way in which they choose to have people pronounce things is usually important. Sometimes it is just an actor thing. Most of the time it's not. Like, they'd usually get notes of, hey, try and pronounce it this way. But anyway, I'm going to end this one here. I'll catch you in the next one.